always know that's you. And I'm like, I see other people not realize it, but I can't promote you.
I can't seem to, I change it and it goes right back. So, and he's got his own dang laptop, so I don't understand this.
We have a short timer talking to us right now. You are going to be tremendously missed, Nancy.
I like hearing that.
Yeah, you are going to be very much missed. I mean that sincerely.
We are live now.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and call the meeting to order at 12:02. Janine, before we begin today's meeting, do you have any instructions on the virtual meeting?
Yes, I do. Thank you for joining today's committee meeting. As always, please note that today's meeting is conducted via Zoom webinar. Members of the committee who are attending via Zoom are encouraged to raise your hand when you have comment or would like to ask a question, and our staff will call on the member in the order of receipt request. Members of the public can provide verbal public comments by raising their hands during the beginning of the agenda item that they would like to comment on. Please note that verbal public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Janine. So that brings us to the Pledge of Allegiance, and I have asked Vice Chair Hepburn if he would.
Those that can rise, please do so. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Tim. So that brings us to roll call. John, if you would please play the real-time tracking and take the roll.
Certainly. Janine, could you please take roll call?
Yes. Chair Moss. Chair Moss.
Present? Can you not hear me?
Yes, I do. Vice
Oh.
Chair Hepburn.
Yes, here.
President Shevler.
Here.
Supervisor Solis. Absent. Member Jakubowski. Member Jakubowski. Did she leave the meeting? I saw
No,
her.
I think her screen is frozen. She looks frozen there.
Okay, so I'll mark her here. Thank you. Member Lyon. Here. Member Mamu. Absent. Member Morales. Absent. Member Jimenez. Absent. Member Sandoval. Absent. We do have quorum.
Thank you very much. Okay, so that will bring us to public comments. And John, have we received any public comments?
Chair Moss, we did not receive any written comments, but we'll give members of the public a chance for verbal comments. Janine, do you see any raised hands?
I do not.
Okay, if we do not have any public comments, then that brings us to changes to the agenda order. Do we have any emergency items that came up after the agenda was posted and that would require action prior to the next regular meeting?
Thank you, Chair Moss. There's one change due on an error in item number 9 with amendment number 2 to agreement 22-10 to NRSS flagging services for the Fairway Grade Separation Project. The requested amount for amendment number 2 changed from $50,000 to $150,000. The new contract amount not to exceed $484,865.
Very good, thank you. All right, so that brings us to consent calendar. there are 3 items under the consent calendar. John, do we have any public comment on the consent calendar?
We did not receive any comments on the consent calendar. Janine, do you see any raised hands?
I don't.
Okay, so do we have any questions or comments as to the consent calendar, items 4 through 6?
Motion to approve, Shevlin.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Actually, Nancy's got her hand up.
Okay,
So
sorry,
I,
Nancy.
thank you. I noticed this during the COG meeting that it said I attended the meeting, but actually it was Ruth Lowe. So I would imagine those minutes have already been fixed, but just in case they haven't been, that should be changed to Ruth, the alternate. And I will second or third the consent calendar, but I will abstain from, what is that, item 5, because I wasn't there. Thank you.
Very good, thank you, Member Lyons. So if we have no further discussion, we have a motion and a second. Can we please have the roll call?
Chair Moss,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hepburn,
Yes.
Madam President Shevlin,
Yes.
Supervisor Solis, absent. Member Jakubowski, Member Jakubowski,
And she's probably frozen again.
absent.
Come back to her.
Member Lyons,
Yes.
Yes.
thank you, Member Jakubowski. Member Mahmood, absent. Member Morales, absent.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll correct that in the roll call. Member Jimenez, absent. Member Sandoval, absent. The motion passes.
All right, very good. Thank you. So that brings us to item number 7. Item number 7 is task order 4 revision 23 with Moffett and Nickel for the Montebello Boulevard grade separation projects. And John, have we received any public comment on this item?
Thank you, Chair Moss. We did not receive any comments on this item. Janine, do you see any raised hands?
Okay, I'm seeing none. John, could you go ahead and proceed with your report, please.
All right, thank you. Item number 7 and number 8 are similar in nature in support to the Montebello corridor grade separation and ag grade projects. Item number 7, staff is recommending the committee to authorize the executive director to issue task order number 4, revision 23, not to exceed amount of $331,500 to Moffett and Nickel to prepare the following specific tasks. First, the consultant will provide program management and fund certification on an as-needed basis. Second, the consultant will provide staff augmentation and technical support on as-needed basis. Third, the consultant will provide interim utility manager services. And lastly, the consultant will prepare and complete the invitation for bids for the construction bid package. This concludes my brief report. I'll be glad to answer any questions the committee may have. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Colleagues, questions or comments on this item? I'm going to rely on you all to tell me if anyone has their hand up. Again, I apologize because I'm doing this from my phone, so it's difficult to see. Okay, so if there's no further discussion, can we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, sir. I'll second it.
Okay, are we doing 7 and 8 separately?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
7.
Okay, got it.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call, please?
Chair Moss,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hepburn,
Yes.
Madam President Shevlin,
Yes.
Supervisor Solis, absent. Member Jakubowski,
Yes.
Member Lyons,
Yes.
Member Mahmood, absent. Member Morales, absent. Member Jimenez, absent. Member Sandoval, absent. The motion passes.
Speaking, can you please mute your devices? We are getting some feedback. I apologize. So item number 8 is an annual task order 3 revision 13 with Moffett and Nickel for the Montebello Boulevard Grade Separation Project. John, have we received any public comment on this item?
Thank you, Chair Moss. We did not receive any comments on this item. Yanine, do you see any raised hands?
Okay, if there are none, John, you can go ahead and proceed with the report.
Staff is recommending the committee to authorize the executive director to issue task order number 3, revision 13, not to exceed amount of $466,982 to Moffett and Nickel to prepare the following specific tasks. First, the consultant will prepare the final plan specifications and estimates for the ag grade safety improvements at Maple Avenue. Second, the consultant will prepare and finalize the California Public Utilities Commission GOA 88 form for each of the 3 ag grade safety improvement crossings. Third, the consultant will prepare and provide accounts related to vehicular and pedestrians. And lastly, the consultant will provide construction items estimates for the CTC and Caltrans funding. This concludes my brief report. I'll be glad to answer any questions the committee may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. Colleagues, questions or comments for staff on this item? Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion to approve item number 8?
I'll move that we approve item number 8.
Second.
Second.
Nope. You got it.
Okay.
President
second,
Shevlin's got it.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. Can we have the roll call, please?
Chair Moss,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hepburn,
Yes.
Madam President Shevlin,
Yes.
Supervisor Solis, absent. Member Jakubowski,
Yes.
Member Lyons,
Yes.
Member Mahmood, absent. Member Morales, absent. Member Jimenez, absent. Member Sandoval, absent. The motion passes.
Thank you very much, Janine. So that brings us to item number 9. Amendment number 2 to Agreement 22-10 with National Railroad Safety Services, Inc. for railroad flagging services. John, have we received any public comments on this item?
Thank you, Chair Moss. We did not receive any comments on this item. Yanine, do you see any raised hands?
I do not.
I think that Tim has his hand raised.
I'm sorry, I apologize, Vice.
Vice Chair Hepburn?
Yeah, just a clarification. I know that we had a triple increase, obviously. And my concern is that it said most of this will be recovered by UPRR. Is that correct? Or all of it will be recovered by UPRR? As we are supplying, looking back when we first started this, because of the fact that they could not have flagging services, that we would be 100% compensated for us contracting to those, if I'm not correct. Is that correct or incorrect?
Thank you, Vice Chair. I would like to ask Gary Cardamone to request or answer
Yes, Vice Chair Hepburn, these flagging requirements are part of the requirements of UP as well as the FRA. Initially, on Fairway, UP was providing those flagging services, and we were reimbursing UP for the costs of flagging services. So in February, when they advised us they would no longer be able to provide those services, we contracted with NRSS, which was one of two approved firms approved by UP to provide those services. So the costs for NRSS are comparable to what we were paying UP. So we scrambled to put a contract in place in February to bring on NRSS, and unfortunately, we've seen some delays to the work due to some unforeseen conditions, which have increased the amount of flagging that we've needed on the project. But essentially, whether it was continued to be provided by UP or whether it continues to be provided by NRSS, those are project costs, which are which the agency has to incur.
So also the fact that we are missing one employee, that'll compensate for some of that cost. Is that correct? Do we have a dollar amount what that will cover as far as what you say? It's stated in the report.
Sure, I can actually, we're actually down a senior project manager, and then we have a vacancy in the director position. So it's actually two, although I think the senior project managers really, we're using Moffitt and Nickel for that. But I would say the monthly cost savings by the vacancy of the director is probably between $20,000 and $25,000 a month.
Very good, very good. And then also these delays are more internal. If I was reading, it was utilities and things like that. It had nothing to do with UPRR. Is that correct? This is just the on-site delays for unforeseen issues. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Do we have any other questions or comments on this item? Okay, if there are none, can I have a motion to approve the item with the recommended changes to the dollar amount?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? I'll second it. Do we have a motion, a second? Can we have a roll call, please?
Chair Moss,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hepburn,
Yes.
Madam President Shevlin,
Yes.
Supervisor Solis, absent. Member Jakubowski,
Yes.
thank you. Member Lyons,
Yes.
Member Mahmood, absent. Member Morales, absent. Member Jimenez, absent. Member Sandoval, absent. The motion passes.
Chair Moss, you're muted.
Sorry. There you go. That brings us to item number 10, update items.
The quarter report.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Do we have any public comment? I apologize. Did we get any public comment on this item, John?
Thank you, Chair Moss. We did not receive any comments. Any NDC, any raised hands?
No hands.
All right.
Very good. Thank you.
The quarter report, progress report
I'm sorry, John, I
include
believe
one summary on all.
Member Jakubowski, was your hand up? You are muted.
I'll wait to the end of his report, then I'll ask my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The quarterly project progress report include a summary of all projects, backup with detailed information for individual projects, The quarterly reports include key performance indicators for each project with charts and graphs. One-page summary of expenditure, schedule, work completed, and highlight areas of concerns. In addition, it provides the funding source, budget, and quarter-over-quarter expenditure of each funding source. I'll be glad to answer any questions the committee may have. Otherwise, this item is for receive and file.
Thank you very much, John. Member Jakubowski. I know she was having some technical.
Thank you. I'll try speaking. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead. Thank you. Well, we could.
Okay. The Diamond Bar project. The Diamond Bar project shows so much is being completed, yet the project itself is enormous with so many facets. How do you explain that?
Thank you, member. Renee, would you like to answer or provide an answer for this question?
So in terms of project completion, it shows right now we're just taking into account the golf course project, the 55% completion there. We are a lot of the more expensive items is on the grassing and the golf component of it. I think it's around $17 million, so around 40% of it. So that's going to happen in the next four months. So that should kick it up to around where we should be on track with time. Right now, cost is a little bit behind the time, but once we start these more expensive items, you'll see the time and the cost be similar to each other.
Great explanation. Thank you so much.
Okay, colleagues, do we have any other questions or comments?
Chair Lyons has her hand up.
Very good. Member Lyons?
Thank you, Chair. Susan, one more thing on your question is if you look at the explanation, it does say phase 1. So I think there's a total of 4 phases. So it's this phase 1 is 55% complete in construction, but there's, as you said, a lot more to go. My question was something that I don't know, it might make us uncomfortable, but I'm just really concerned about this. When we look at the items on this report, which by the way, I really like a lot, it's really easy to understand. And the top item, Fairway Drive, it only has an extra 1% of construction completed in 3 months. And then the one underneath that, our Love Fullerton Road grade separation, that only has gone up 4% in a quarter. So to me, that doesn't seem like very much. And I know I'm not very well educated on this, but it is a concern. And I'm wondering if the work has slowed down, if there's some problem. So maybe one of you could address that.
That's an excellent question.
Thank you, Member Lyons. Gary, would you like to provide a response to this?
Well, yes, I'd be happy to. With respect to Fairway, in fact, as we just kind of discussed on the NRSS amendment, we have seen some delays, which have pushed the end date of the contract. Well, we are still planning on completing by March. Unfortunately, we had hoped to complete and open Fairway earlier than that date, but several recent delays have now pushed the opening of Fairway back to probably late February or early March as well. We are approaching the end of the contract, and typically, if you look at a curve of construction cash flow, typically it is sort of an S type of curve, so that when you get towards the latter stages of a project, the expenditures do tend to flatten out a bit. So that could be that could explain some of the what you're seeing is low progress or low cash flows on Fairway as we approach the end of the project. Fullerton, different types of delays because we have been delayed working in the UPRR right away. I think we've discussed that previously. We have made very good progress on the roadway portions. When I do a short briefing with some photos in a few minutes, I'll bring you up to date on where we are on Fullerton. But we are making pretty good progress on the roadway portions of Fullerton. And now we're just starting to gain some momentum on the railroad right-of-way portions. So I think you should see some increases on Fullerton as we go forward.
So it sounds like this is somewhat normal, a little bit maybe extra delays, but you're not concerned about the estimated completion date. Is that correct?
Well, I'm always concerned about delays, particularly on Fullerton, because we have several notice of intent to claim on that contract. So those delays may result in additional costs as well. So yes, I am concerned. We'll continue to monitor and look for opportunities to mitigate those delays to the extent that we can. And we'll keep the committee apprised of those delays as we go forward.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for that explanation. Colleagues, do we have any other questions or comments?
I had a
apologize.
couple quick questions, if you don't mind, Chair.
No, go for it.
How are we doing with UPRR? Are we, I know that we've had communication with our higher electeds and kind of push the train along, you might say. How are we doing with how are we doing with that? Do we need more intervention? Because we have that. We don't want to obviously use that to its end, but we want to make sure that construction continues and these delays are minimal. As we know, UPRR has been difficult at times. How are we with that?
We have seen some improvement over the last couple of months. Many of the approvals that had been delaying the project have now been received. We still have a ways to go, but we're starting to plan for the shoe fly work within the right of way. We are proceeding with the retaining wall, temporary retaining wall that will allow us to construct that shoe fly. We started to do some formal partnering on the project, and UP representatives have been attending those first couple of workshops. So we believe the communication's gotten better. The turnaround on some of these submittals has improved, although we're still having to resubmit several submittals that is somewhat problematic. But I think we're seeing improvements, and again, we're starting to pick up some momentum in the right of way, and I'm sort of cautiously optimistic that we're getting into a mode where we can start making some progress in the right of way.
Is that something that would necessarily be met by Executive Director Creeder and also Chair Moss, that we would use to utilize our higher electeds to pinpoint a couple of those items to get to our higher electeds to maybe assist it further? I mean, we want to get this thing going, and we want to make sure that we know that there's pressure from our people that have direct contact with them. I'm just, if it helps, I think this is something we should probably do, but obviously that's in Executive Director Creeders and also Chair Moss, but I'm willing to help any way I can, because I think we need to move this forward. Just costing taxpayer dollars all the time when, and if it's not moving fast enough, we need to maybe turn the Bunsen burner up a hair,
Certainly that type of communication couldn't hurt, and
Okay.
in fact would probably be a positive push towards getting these things moving forward quicker than they have
Okay.
been.
That's probably up for a discussion with us then. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to comment on the Diamond Bar Golf Course. Good job, guys, girls, everybody included. I go by there every single day, and the improvement, and I'm in construction, so I just see a lot of movement very quickly, especially those poles. It's so ominous looking that, they're pushing back, getting ready, and they're getting the grounds ready, but also the maintenance yard and everything else that's going, and then the movement of the dirt and some of the other areas. I just commend our contractors, even with a few little rain spells that we've had. They're doing a great job. Just bottom line, I really am very happy to see that, not only for us, but for Diamond Bar and for what it's going to be for the people that are going to use it later. But nice job.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. It's really been great to see that progress. And it's just watching it evolve has been really, really incredible. And then also, I would like to echo Vice Chair Hepburn's remarks regarding the UP and that issue. And I would say, yes, I am very cautiously optimistic that we're seeing some improvement there. But I think we do need to continue to put the pressure on, and hopefully that will continue to get better, because that has just been such a hindrance as far as us getting the good work done that we need to do. So
I think so also, Chair Moss, that anytime we have any communication with our higher electeds, we don't whining, we want specifics on the item that we need to push it forward. Not little stuff, but the bigger stuff that would assist us to say we have an issue with A and B in order to get C, D, and E going fast. So whatever Mr. Cardamon has, if it works with all the above, we need to make sure we pinpoint those items so that we can, with laser focus, to make sure that it gets to the right individual, the right time, and move it in the right way. So that's just my suggestion. Thank you, Chair.
an excellent suggestion. I think would staff be able to give us that very specific information so that when we are speaking to our higher elected, so we can make our point very clear, and it's the ask is very specific. And again, like Vice Chair Hepburn says, we're not whining or sort of asking, complaining, but making a very clear request.
Yes, absolutely.
Happy to put that information together for you. Thank you.
Thank you. That'd be fantastic. All right, so I cannot see if we have any other raised hands. And if we do not, then this is a receive and file item. So it is received and it shall be filed. And that will take us to item number 14. Director of Capital Projects Monthly Report.
All right, thank you, Chair Moss. We did not receive any comments on this item. Yanine, do you see any raised hands?
Not at this time.
All right.
Thank you. In addition to the written report, I'm pleased to inform the committee that on September 15th, the Montebello project COM agreement has been fully executed by Union Pacific Railroad, City of Montebello, and Sgvcog. And on October 5th, 2022, staff submitted a request to the CTC for approval of the allocation of 49 million from SB1 funding and 18.8 million from Prop 1B funding. It's been a great team effort among technical team, government affairs, and agency partners. We're very confident that the funds will be allocated by the CTC in December 2022. We're planning to issue the invitation for bid for this project in January 2023 and begin construction in mid-2023. I'll be glad to answer any questions the committee may have. Otherwise, this item is for receive and file. Thank you.
I'd like to just real quickly make a correction, because on my sheet here that my numbers were swapped. So I said that was number 14 when it was actually number 11. So I apologize for that. But colleagues, do you have any questions or comments on this item? Okay. If there's nothing, then it shall be received and filed. And then that will bring us to, okay, I'm missing something then, because there's 11. Oh no, here we go. That brings us to item number 12. So that will be active construction project updates by project managers. Do we have any public comment on this item?
Thank you, Chair Moss. We did not receive any comments on this item. Yanine, Do you see any raised hands?
No hands at this time.
Thank you. Renee Cornell will be providing an update on the Diamond Bar Golf Course Improvement Project. And Gary Carmon will provide updates on the Fullerton and Fairway grade separation projects. Renee?
Hello, so construction continues on a Diamond Bar Golf Course project. In this photo, we finally built a portion of the triple reinforced concrete box. It's around 18 feet wide and each cell is 6 feet high. And it's reached its strength. You can see a big piece of equipment on it and we're backfilling it. So yeah, it's strong enough for our equipment. So that's good to hear. Later on in next month, we're going to continue the section towards the south. Next slide. There is a lot of wire and a lot of pipe that goes in this golf course. That's for the sprinklers and irrigation. It's like around 180,000 linear feet of wire and pipe. So we're just digging trenches everywhere and just laying the pipe for the future improvements. Next slide. Since it is a lot of pipe, you can't bring it in that long of a pieces. Trucks, you're limited to what a truck can bring. So we're basically welding it on site and just pushing it towards the trench. So it's pretty seamless. We're digging the trench, welding it and putting it in. And the last slide is it doesn't look like a lot, but it requires us to work hand in hand with the golf course architect. So we do a lot of rough grading. He takes a look at it and he tells us to shave here, add more. And then once we do that, we can finally start putting down irrigation lines because we know what's out there. And in the next couple months, we're going to start putting some of the seeds for the grass to grow. Since it is a golf course, you have to let the grass grow for a certain amount of period. Hopefully this winter is a little bit warmer and it does improve the quality of the grass. And that concludes my presentation for the golf course, and I can take any questions.
Thank you very much, Renee. Colleagues, questions or comments on this item? I cannot see any hands raised. Okay. All right, there's nothing. Then we'll go ahead and move on to Gary.
Okay, thank you. I think we have 3 fairly recent photos for the Fairway Drive project. All right, this first photo shows, this is looking west, shows the retaining wall 8 concrete and formwork. Again, working within the UP right away. And this is an example of work that would require flaggers because we're within 25 feet of the right of way. This is on the north side of UPR and west of the bridge. Next photo, Janine, please. This photo is showing placing and compacting of select fill material behind the bridge abutment number 1, which is also on the northwest side of the bridge. Next photo, Janine. And this photo is looking north under the and looking at the underside of the new bridge. The rough grading under the bridge has been completed. You can see a contractor, actually this contractor is working for Walnut Valley Water District, installing the district's new 16-inch water line in Fairway Drive. Their work will be followed by Southern Cal Edison, who also has a conduit, major conduit going into Fairway Drive and under the bridge. And once this underground work is complete, we can begin the roadway improvements within Fairway Drive. So we're making progress. We're still looking at a March of 2023 completion. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you very much, Gary. Do we have any questions or comments on this item? I can't see anyone has their hand up, so I guess if not, then
we can move on to Fullerton then. Janine, please. Okay, this, I've got three fairly recent aerial photos. This
Great.
one is looking west along the UP right away. And you can see the temporary retaining wall on the north side of the right of way. It took quite a lengthy period of time to get approval to install that temporary retaining wall, but now we're almost approaching the completion of that wall, which will allow us to start working on the shoe fly, which will be north on the north side of the right of way. I mentioned earlier, we're finally gaining some momentum within the right of way. We've gotten several of the approvals necessary to perform work in the right of way. There's still a few outstanding, but we're starting to make some good progress. Next photo, Yanine. This is work looking west along Gale Avenue at the intersection. You can see the concrete pavement is pretty much complete. We're now installing new striping, signage, signalization, and lighting work. Most of the K-rail has been removed and replaced with barrels and cones, and we're just really within the next, I'm going to say, couple of weeks, we're hoping to open the new improvements, these new intersection improvements to the public. We're in the process of coordinating with the City of Industry, the County of LA, and Caltrans to make sure everything is ready for the opening. We're also completing some of the improvements to the adjacent businesses, restoration of any affected private property, and things like driveways, parking lots, landscaping, fencing, and lighting, anything that our project affected to those private property owners. We want to make sure those improvements are completed. And the last photo, Yanine, please. And this photo is looking north along Fullerton at the westbound SR 60 off ramp. And again, you can see the concrete pavement is completed. Contractor again is in the process of completing striping and signage and signalization lighting in preparation for opening of the widened Fullerton Road. So we're getting very close to opening these new improvements, and that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you very much, Gary. Do we have any comments on this, Gary's report? I'd just like to say how great the aerial photos are. I mean, I go through this area on a pretty regular basis and can definitely see how much is going on, but this really gives you of everything that's going on within the whole project area. So thank you for those. And if there's nothing further, then these are to be received and filed. And I believe that will bring us now to item number 13. And that's me. So I am pleased to announce that the San Gabriel Valley COGS ATP Cycle 6 application for Montebello's Railroad Safety Crossing improvements has been recommended for funding in the amount of $5.9 million by CTC staff. The program will be presented before the California Transportation Commission for adoption at its December 7th through the 8th, 2022 meeting. And that concludes my report for this month. But that is really, really great news. And then that will bring us to member comments or announcements. Do any of my colleagues have any announcements that they would like to make at this time?
I see two hands. Member
Okay.
Lyons.
I will start with Member Lyons.
Thank you, Chair. And that indeed is great news on getting that funding. That's really great news.
Okay.
My question is really, I think, directed towards Marissa. And Marissa, I'm just wondering if you could tell our committee what the status is of getting Eric replaced. Thank you.
Hi, sure. So we are in the midst of the recruitment. And I believe we have interviews. So the applications were due at the beginning of October, and interviews are, I think, this week or next week, first round, and then second round. So we hope to have someone in place probably beginning of December would be realistic. So he's tricky with the holidays. I'm not totally sure, but I would guess beginning of December.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, who else has their hand raised? Because I'm not able to see it.
Myself, Tim.
There you go, Tim, go for it.
First of all, great job by staff, and we're pushing this Montebello project at $67.851 million, which that's a big one and a big amount of money. And I do appreciate staff's diligence and pushing forward. And I think all our projects are going well. We just maybe have a few little hiccups with a couple of our entities, but as a whole, I'm really proud of what we do here and what our staff is doing. And I think it's a testament. We're moving in the right direction, and things are going well. As construction is, though, there was always bumps and grinds in the road that you have to address, and unfortunately, sometimes it's cost overruns. But all in all, we're making movement. I mean, look at Fullerton. Look where we were a year ago, and look where we are now. We're moving. Construction, boots on the ground. So that's really good. I also wanted to say again to previous chair Nancy Lyons, it's been an honor and a privilege. And I know that we're coming to next month where someone will be replacing you, but you are not able to be replaced ever because you are Nancy Lyons. And as I guess I'm a seasoned veteran now on the COG, and I want to thank Nancy because when I first came on, I knew nothing. And she showed me the ropes along with President Shevlin and a number of other people that are no longer there. They've moved on to other things, retirement and things like that. But I want to thank you. You've been just a very honest individual. You've been very helpful, very kind, very knowledgeable, and it's been a pleasure and an honor, and I will miss you.
Tim, thank you very much, but you're not actually getting rid of me until December.
Oh, well, that's even better. Then
So,
I'll save it.
So you get to say it all over again.
I'll do it again and again. So we
Yes,
get to-
I can expect to hear this again next month, but yeah, I'm leaving office in December, but thank you very much. I appreciate the kind words. Thank you.
Well, it's been amazing. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much for that. Marissa, I wanted to ask, and I apologize if I didn't hear you correctly. So we are coming into the interview phase for Eric's replacement?
Yes.
Okay, and I was wondering, so who would be participating in those interview panels? And if that hasn't already been done or selected, may I ask that, as previously before, the industry might have someone on that panel?
Sure. Yeah, I can follow up with you offline about that.
Okay, thank you. All right. Do we have any other member comments or announcements? All right. Well,
Corey, I was just
Yes.
going to say, obviously, it doesn't directly affect, it doesn't the construction or capital projects. But I just was going to mention again that our new offices are going to be ready. Well, we can move in, correct, Marissa, on November 1st?
oh, wow.
Yep, that's what Katie is doing today is with the movers, and they move our stuff this weekend.
Good stuff, guys. That's exciting.
Yes, very.
Looking forward to it. If there's nothing further, I just want to again thank everybody for your patience. I know that some of us had some technical difficulties, and I really apologize for that on my end. And I promise the next meeting, if we're not in person yet, I will have my better computer up and running. So if we have nothing further, then this meeting is adjourned, and everybody
Happy Halloween.
have
Yes.
a great day. And
Happy
Halloween.
Halloween, everybody. Enjoy. Have a safe and fun Halloween.
yes,
Be sure to get out and vote
And vote.
and happy Veterans Day.
Yes.
Absolutely. All righty. Bye, everyone.
You all.
Bye.
take care.